Well, greetings. It's been a minute since we've been out here. It'll probably be another minute. We just happen to have actually pretty good lighting today and pretty decent weather. I think it was like in the 40s or I think it got into 60 even. Pretty nice. I'd come out here to salvage a CPU fan that I just dropped. See if it fits one of my other laptops. Wanted to talk about something that I may or may not get a lot of chances to talk about, and that's you got to be careful on the internet. So I'm going to try to get this one out. Some of my videos here are going to be a little weird. Deal with it. Notably, what happened this past weekend, as some of you may be aware, those that have significant others, it was Valentine's Day weekend. And my wife and I didn't have any major plans. We were just kind of chill. We had some tasks we needed to get done, so we slept in. We just kind of chilled for a while. And we had planned on actually going and getting some chores done. I was actually getting ready to take a nap. This is like almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Getting ready to take a nap. Was going to then get up, do some dishes, and just my wife had put some hamburger out. We were going to make, I don't know what we were going to make. We're going to make something. And life struck for a minute. She got a text from her mother saying she had been hacked and that somebody had managed to get a $300 Amazon gift card on her Amazon account. Now, full disclosure on that one, they did manage to successfully cancel the transaction, so thank you. But, she called, hey, they've got remote access to my computer. So my wife called, and that basically wrecked our Valentine's Day. We ended up having to drive out to her parents' house, and we were there until like almost 7 o'clock at night. We had to go through the whole process, and some of you may not know what that looks like. I don't have any footage for today. I'm just going to talk through it. If that offends you, that's fine. I didn't have an opportunity to take a lot of pictures or anything like that, so for the sake of privacy, I'm just going to let it go. But this is kind of more of a PSA and less ripping on my mother-in-law, because it could happen to you, and it is important to be aware that scams do exist. In her case, it started out as a very harmless, I'm going to walk around here. It started out as a very harmless email that she got. Said email basically said something to the degree of, we can beat your insurance that you currently get rate compared to your others. Okay, fair enough. Sometimes that could be very legitimate. In her case, she followed through with it, filled out the stuff. She mentioned that, I'm going to back up for a second. So we've gotten this far. Well, a few weeks ago at her place of work, she couldn't charge her cell phone. It wouldn't charge. All the outlets on the outer wall where she works just weren't working. And so what do phones charge with? USB cables. Well, she plugged her phone into this computer they had, and I knew it was a problem from the moment she texted me about it. Even called us while we were on a trip running around. That this computer was Windows 7, and this said Windows 7 computer, after she plugged in her phone to charge it, suddenly went really cattywampus. All the icons disappeared, things got really broken, and applications got weird. Effectively, I wonder if her phone got infected somewhere along the way. Back then, we just said you probably transferred a virus from, your phone to the computer because it's Windows 7. They're probably not running any virus. Just have the IT guy look at it, and I didn't think anything of it. Well, now you got this. So her phone had managed to Bluetooth itself via Microsoft Phone Link, which she says she didn't set up. And given how malicious Microsoft is, I could believe it. So I set her up originally with a local account. However, it is not uncommon for Microsoft to casually force you into a Microsoft account. So she did have a Microsoft account signed in, but with no password on the laptop, which is something we're going to work on. So however this worked out, I'm going to guess it probably transferred from her phone to her computer via Bluetooth. She said she had tried to connect her phone and send files over Bluetooth. I guess Windows took that as connecting your phone to your computer, which resulted in her getting text messages over there, and she's like, I don't want this crap. But it wasn't enough to bring us out. So now her laptop has gotten infected, potentially. And what basically ended up happening is the attackers got a piece of software called Screen Connect. If I can find it, I'll overlay it here. But effectively, it is a remote screen capture software, essentially like a poor man's RDP, I guess, or any of those other remote assist technologies you've used with your parents, like TeamViewer. Same thing. From there, it kept popping up on her, probably because they kept having issues getting connected, more than likely. And at some point, they managed to connect. She was logging into Amazon to go buy something for her husband, and nailed her. They blacked the screen out, they grabbed her cursor, they put a $300 Amazon gift card in the cart and tried to purchase it. Now, like I said, thankfully, Amazon's a little smarter than that, and they flagged that transaction. Now, in the time it took us to get there, my wife said, unplug everything in the back of the router. Pull the power out, pull it all out, take the network down. Any computers that are on, turn them off. Wait for us to get there, it'll be about an hour. I said it would take us about 10 minutes to get ready, and then it's going to be about an hour for us to get there. I admittedly was not ready, so I had to spend a few minutes going through and getting portable antivirus, portable apps, bootable recovery environments, making sure my Windows installer was up to date. I had a lot of things to do. And that's my fault. I even grabbed her driver software because one of the biggest reasons she's on Windows 11 is she has an old Husqvarna that requires very weird, it's a Sentinel dongle, I believe is what I found out it was, that requires a HASP DRM driver to make it work. It's very, very old tech, and I think it's very rude that they do it this way, but it's basically DRM, but a physical USB key. That key will die someday, and I don't know if I can clone it or not. It's a little more complicated. If I can, I will, though. So, out of all that, we get it there. We end up doing a few things that make a lot of sense. One, we warned the nephew, hey, Gmail got hacked. If you've got anything on right now, you're probably going to want to go change your passwords. Make sure you got an antivirus. If you don't, scan your computer. Well, it turns out all he had open was a Chromebook. And when they unplugged the network, that fixed it. And I said, well, just go up, clear your browser cache, restart the Chromebook. If it acts funny afterwards, power wash it, reset it, sign back into it, you're good to go. Well, he said, nah, it's fine. It's not doing anything. So he went upstairs. He reset his browser and came back and was like, it's all good. His console wasn't even on, so we're not worried about that. Because viruses can skip across all sorts of things. Even multi-platform now is common. Even like a virus capable of transmitting through Linux or through Android to a Windows PC is very not entirely unheard of. I've dealt with one or two in my time. For her phone, we ended up taking the precaution. So I was in the middle of checking her laptop for any serious infections. I was Wi-Fi disabled, Wi-Fi card disabled in device manager, Bluetooth turned off, running Malwarebytes scans, running antivirus scans, that sort of thing. I rebooted into a recovery CD and checked the Windows boot directory to make sure there wasn't any rootkits in there. I went back in and checked local roaming, which is where I found the Screen Connect software. So fun fact about Microsoft. Okay, let's talk about that for a minute. First of all, fuck Microsoft. Windows has not done a full shutdown when you hit shutdown for some time. I want to make this clear. Windows does not do a full shutdown. They do what is basically hibernate. This is how it's been for a long time. Windows 8 introduced this. Fuck Windows 8. And fuck Microsoft for thinking this is a good idea. Effectively, it hibernates the machine. So when these hackers manage to, or these scammers, I should say, manage to get this Screen Connect software on your computer, well, when you install a program that's not an administrator, because you don't have administrative rights, and you don't want the user finding out, of course, in this case, it installs into like the local roaming folder of Windows or user app data, something like that. And that's where it hides. So like at work, I don't have admin rights, but I use Firefox. Well, that's how I get around it. It installs to the user app data directory or the user local roaming directory. That's what they did with the Screen Connect software. And because it has a system service, well, that shows up in services.msc. Effectively, I went into services.msc. I killed all the services. I set them to disabled. I then did all my virus scans, brought the machine back up. Because of that hibernate mode, one of the recovery CDs I had thought the drive was encrypted. It's not. Windows puts the state in a dirty state that then doesn't allow you to do anything with it. So the way around that is to, on a restart or on a reboot, press Shift Shutdown. We'll do a complete and full utter shutdown. That will flush the RAM, that will flush whatever Microsoft has in hibernate mode, and it'll shut the PC down cold. That means the next time you start up, Windows can't load it from hibernate and boot up. That's what I did. That flushed the Screen Connect software out. I didn't find anything with Malwarebytes, Bitdefender, Avira. I ran a couple other ones off a USB stick. I kind of just run a handful of them just to see what shows up, because one virus maker might find something, another doesn't, but they all largely use the same definitions these days. And everybody came back clean. So I didn't reload her computer. What I did was I put Bitdefender on it because of all the antiviruses I used, Bitdefender seems to do an okay job. It does get a little asinine when it comes to certificates and some websites. My mother-in-law has proven herself not very trustworthy in that regard, so I'm okay with it being a little bit of an ass. She's probably going to go download some of her crochet patterns, and they're going to not let her do it, or it'll call it a virus. And she'll be like, well, I need my crochet pattern. And I'll be like, no, you don't. Stop downloading sketchy shit off the internet. Even if you think it's a cool pattern, maybe it's not worth it because you got hacked. Her phone, we ended up factory resetting. During this process, we also reset all of her passwords to all of her major accounts. Bank accounts, financial accounts, her main email account, that sort of thing. Anything that the hackers could have had access to before we got there, we want to make sure that those accounts have all been changed and then set back up. So it was a process. It took a long time. ruined my Valentine's Day with my wife. She was not very happy. In fact, I believe her coined phrase was, "You didn't have to get hacked by India for us to come out and see you. You didn't have to be that lonely." But it is worth noting that the way these hackers did this, I am shocked she didn't get a rootkit or something like that. They literally just wanted a gift card. And I'm shocked because normally they'll try to infect your computer as much as possible. And a lot of the campaigns try to revolve around, if they can't get the gift card out of you, then they'll hit you with that Microsoft support scam kind of thing. So I think she's very fortunate that me and my wife are semi-close and fairly tech competent. My wife was pretty freaked out for a while. We didn't know if we were going to be able to get back into some accounts due to two-factor. Fuck two-factor, by the way. I use it. I hate it. It's a piece of shit. Fucking hate it. And it's just one of those things where you just got to be careful. Thankfully, we were there. We were able to deal with it. And now she's somewhat safe, a little more safe than before. She did get a talking to. She was told, "I will take your administrative rights away if you do this again. You know, I will strip you to a standard user account and I'll put an admin account on there and I'll put a password on it and I'm not going to tell you what it is. And yes, I'm smart. There's a password on Bitdefender. You can set a password on the antivirus, and I set a password on it that I'm going to remember. That way, if the hackers try to turn off her antivirus to do something stupid like that again, it's not going to work." Gotta think one step ahead of these people. Thought it was a neat little story to tell you. I've got a few little rambles here that I'm going to put up on the channel. If they do well, I'll keep doing this kind of content. I do want to get back to some tech content here pretty soon. As it warms up, I'll have time on my bench to do that. So like I've got this XPS that I'm recording on today that I've been needing to talk about for like a while. I have that from back at the IU video, if that gives you a clue. So with that, I hope you have a great day. Hopefully you all had a better Valentine's Day than I had, for those of you that participate in that. For the rest of you, have a good evening, good day, wherever you are, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.